Hello, and a very warm welcome. How to study Materia Medica. So, this is the first lecture of the How to Study Materia Medica series. How to study Materia Medica? This question not only bothers the students but it also bothers the practitioners. So, I thought why not make a video series on this topic. So, our pioneers, our past stalwarts, as well as our contemporary stalwarts, have given us certain guidelines as to how Materia Medica should be studied. So, I'll give you a reference of all those guidelines, and then we'll talk about the practical difficulties in studying Materia Medica, and you can drop your comments in the comment section what difficulties you face in the study of Materia Medica. So we'll start with the first tip, or we'll start with the first point. I'll quote Dr. Eb Nash. Dr. Eb Nash, in his sulfur monogram, he says that one remedy well studied is better than several not half understood. One remedy well studied is better than several not half understood. So, one of the best ways to study Materia Medica is to emphasize on one drug at a time, is to focus on one drug at a time, to study it in itself and to study the remedies which are in relation to it, right? The remedy relations of that remedy. So, the first step, so we are seeing it, emphasizing on one remedy at a time, emphasizing on one drug at a time. What students generally do is when exams are very near or when they need to study, they study many drugs on the same day or in a few period of days, so which is not advisable at all. So, and it's not only about students, even it happens with us also. When we come across some different dimensions of certain drugs, or when we study some new interesting rubrics, we try to study many remedies together, which is not advisable. Try to emphasize on one drug at a time, study that drug in itself and its relationship with other remedies. This is the first tip, or this is the first point. And instead of knowing bits and parcels of many remedies, it is always advisable to begin with, it is always advisable to study relatively less number of drugs, but study them thoroughly from different materia medicas, from various materia medicas. Our different stalwarts, right from Dr. M.L. Tyler to Dr. Elias Barker to Dr. Rajan Shankaran sir, they all have advised how wise it is to study a drug from different materia medicas. So instead of studying many drugs and knowing them in bits and parcels, it is always sensible and advisable to study a drug thoroughly from different materia medicas. So I'll just quote a few sentences in where our pioneers have advised to study a drug from different authors and why is it necessary to do so. So Dr. M.L. Tyler says that different persons realize or visualize the same drug in different ways, according to their experience of its different powers and uses. Different persons realize or visualize the same drug in different ways according to their experiences of its different powers and uses. It is therefore wise to study a drug described by different writers. One finds one point emphasized by one opponent and one by another. Dr. Elias Barker says that different doctors are obviously apt to give different pictures if they try to compress the vast potentialities of a drug in few lines. Different doctors are obviously apt to give different pictures if they try to compress the vast potentialities of a drug in few lines. Dr. Rajan Shankaran sir says that for a long time I hesitated to write a book on remedies because I am well aware of the dangers inherent in such an undertaking. In the first place, there is a strong possibility that the reader, especially if he is a beginner in the field, might become fixed on these remedy pictures and forget that every remedy has a wider range and a greater scope than any one individual can see or describe. All this is very relatable to a story which is there in Hindu, Jain, and in the Buddhist text. So there's an incident in which six blind men, six differently able men, they had come across the elephant for the very first time. So they tried to uh, perceive the elephant in their own way, being differently abled, being blind. Obviously, they couldn't see it, so they tried to feel it in their own way. So one person, I'm so sorry, one person held the tusk of the elephant. He said that the elephant is like a spear, bhale ki tarah. One person held the tail of the elephant. He said that the elephant is like a rope. One person held the ear of the elephant. He says that the elephant is like a fan. One person held the leg of the elephant. He said the elephant is like a tree. One person grasped the trunk, soond, hathi ki soond. He grasped the trunk of the elephant. He said that elephant is like a snake. And one person like was leaning on uh, the side of the elephant. He said it's like the elephant is like a wall. So each of them is true, but only in parts. Each of them is partially true, whereas each of them is partially incorrect, partially correct. I'm so sorry. Each of them is partially correct or wrong entirely. So this is the same case with our Materia Medica. Different authors have given different dimensions of certain drugs, which we need to assemble in our minds to gain a more comprehensive picture. Hence, it is so advisable and it is so sensible to study a drug from various authors. So, just recapitulating, just revising what the first part, what the first part of the Materia Medica series, what the first part of how to study Materia Medica series is all about, is to emphasize on one drug at a time, to study it thoroughly from various authors, and to study it in relationship with other remedies. This is the gist of the part 1 of this series. I hope it was something new and I hope it was something beneficial. So please drop your comments and let's make it interactive. Thank you so much.